Florence, I adore her as not only as an extraordinary actress, but also just as a human being. I mean, I remember there's a little scene in it where I think I hugged the two of them in this really ridiculous way. I'm like, I love you so much. And they break away from me like you're a narcissist. But I remember before that break, there is a moment that we shot, I don't know if it's in the movie, where she kind of softens just in his embrace for a second. Like, this is my dad holding me. And it was a beautiful moment. I thought it was so sophisticated to find that moment.
You smell really bad.
The thought was, who do we pair up with Scarlett that can hold her own, that could shine? And we needed to have someone that go, those two together are just nuclear. Which was the whole idea, to tell that story of sisterhood and the conflict of that and how they grow together in this film. So I think Florence Pugh was a true gift.
I'm not here trying to be your friend, but you need to tell me what that is.
It's a synthetic gas, the counteragent to chemical subjugation. The gas immunizes the brain's neural pathways from external manipulation.
Maybe in English next time?
It's an antidote controlio synavi.
Genumna.
Why don't you take it to one of your super scientist friends? They can explain it to you. Tony Stark, maybe?
It was so wonderful to be able to do those scenes with Florence because she's such a wonderful actor and playful. Her work is so touching. And so it was a ease, like, to feel connected to her because she's so open in those moments. And you really feel that when you watch it on screen. It just feels very natural.
All right, all set, here we go. Ready, and action.
The Gulag set, we decided very early on that this would be very remote, in this sort of snowy wilderness, I suppose. The set's actually 160 foot in diameter. We start by building these sorts of sets as 3D models, and then what we do very early on is we try and populate them, and we try and see how many extras we think we need to try and make the space feel big enough for camera. The snow, by the way, is all salt. It's about the only material you can use which actually really does look like snow. The really bad news is we're in England, it rains a lot, and the salt dissolves in water. It probably took us about 4 days to put the snow down, and then it just so happens the night before we were going to film, we had a really bad storm, and basically all the snow went away. So the next morning, we pulled everyone from everywhere and put it back together in about 4 hours, which is what filmmaking's all about.
Charlie is such an accomplished production designer. His attention to detail is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And something that was very important from the beginning was creating a world that Kate saw fit for this movie.
So we try and build all of the models, we try and supply as much reference as possible, and we'll go through it all. But then what also happens, the stunt department will then become involved in this because obviously they have to perform on here. They'll have their own requirements, as will lighting. So the thing about art direction, set design, that sort of thing, it's not just for one department, it's for the entire film. You have to be mindful and accommodating of what everyone needs from a set besides what you're just trying to do visually. It has to work for everyone, otherwise it wouldn't work at all.
The Red Guardian, he's the most insecure character in the film. And so he's always hiding.
Did he talk to you about me?
What?
Did he talk to you about me? You know, trading more stories.
Who? What are you talking about?
Captain America.
When it first came to me, Kate sat me down and started telling me about the script, because they don't, you know, let you see a script in these things, which I understand is also top secret. But she started pitching me this idea of this guy, and I think the first thing she talked about was you know, this scene in a prison, and he has this strength, and he's this like beastly guy, and I was like envisioning this kind of gangster movie and all this stuff, and I was like, oh, this is great, and I kind of project where he's gonna go, and then she said, and he desperately wants to be liked, and he desperately wants people to think he's funny and charming, and I was like, whoa, like, so the zig and the zag of the character in that way was so appealing to me that you know, are able to create this full human being who has this big, strong, massive side to him, but also has all these human qualities of being an obtuse narcissist and a guy who is desperate for the affection of the people that he loves, or as much as he possibly can loves. He's a very complicated guy. So when she pitches to me, I was like, wow, this is really exciting.
It still fits.
It is easier for a designer when you know the behind of the character, because you can project that in the costume. Even when you design a superhero, like when I started designing the Red Guardian, I knew that he wanted to be like Captain America. I knew that it was a guy who was always trying too hard to be somebody. I knew that his personality was a little bit overdone, bigger than life. So I project that in the design. This is why it's so important to know the psychology of the character, what's behind the facade of the superhero. It helps tremendously for the design.
Jenny has such a great backstory just in terms of everything that she's done before. She's come from the 007 world, which is a little bit more grounded. She's also done Harry Potter's, and to be able to kind of strike that balance is something that we were looking for.
Everything that you see here is made in our workroom. All the leather, all the rubber beads, all the costumes here is made by people here. For the first time, we are going to have a white costume for our Black Widow.
Hey girl, look at you.
Day one, White Widow.
Look good.
You look good. The original idea was that when they fight in the snow, they are wearing white uniform because it's the color of the snow. So that was the start of an idea. I was so afraid at the beginning to start doing it, you know? I was thinking, oh my God, would she like it, would she? But the suit is designed in such a way that you have some graphic line in it to give an incredible silhouette to Scarlett. This is the one that Yelena, her sister, is wearing. It's more functional. It was based on a more sportive idea. And on top of that, she has the vest that you could see at the end of the film. She's going to give it to her older sister. What we are using for fabric is actually a double jersey, very strong, and we print on them a design which is different. And that gives us the possibility of having something very original and being able to use any source of fabric which is necessary for the elasticity and the comfort of the suits.
Scarlett and I both have White Widow suits, which is very cool. I can move in it, I can fight in it, which isn't the same for lots of the superhero suits. They're usually, you know, there to look amazing. So it was really cool to be in a suit that was made for function and completely summed up exactly what Yelena is about. She just puts the clothes on and then fights.
I think it's never finished. I think for me, the costume is finished when they are shooting on it, when the first take is done, and I think, it works. This is the moment where I think that my job is finished. But I think till that moment, you are never finished.